Today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. And what I want to talk about is just being one step ahead. So I don't know if you've watched this movie. I haven't watched it myself. I just watched a video about someone else talk about that movie, and I got everything from that. There's a movie called Catch Me If You Can. It's by Leonardo DiCaprio. He's the guy who dates women until they're 25 and then just buns them off. That guy. In that movie, I'm pretty sure, from what I heard from that video or what I can remember, which isn't that well, which I can't remember that well, is he taught a whole semester at university. He was a lecturer in a subject he had no experience in, he had no knowledge in, he had no teaching qualification in, he did not have a degree in, and he taught a whole semester, and nobody was what's the word? Nobody was one of the wiser. Nobody had any idea that he was an imposter. He was not qualified to be there. That he was not an expert in that subject. He was just pretending, and I think the cops asked him, how did you do that? How did you do a whole semester without anyone batting an eye? It's because he was just one chapter ahead. He was just a few pages ahead of everyone that he was teaching. And then just because of that, nobody had any idea that he didn't know what he was on about, or that he didn't have a degree in it, or he wasn't an expert in that field. It's just he was just a little bit ahead. Okay, in the same way, what's it called? So when he was talking about it, he was speaking about it so smoothly. He knew exactly what to say. He had confidence in what he was saying, and then everybody assumed, okay, this guy has to be a lecturer. He has to know everything. They don't question it. Why would they question it? He knows exactly what he's talking about, and we're learning from him. So clearly he knows a lot more. But really, he didn't know so much more. He just knew a little bit more. But because he just knew a little bit more every step along the way, every lecture, week on week, then they were like, this guy is an expert in that subject, and we're learning from him, and we should completely trust in everything he says. He could have been completely lying to them, and they would have no idea. He was lying to them. He was saying, I'm qualified in this, and I'm supposed to work here, but he wasn't. He was lying. He was. I think in the movie he does like identity theft. He stole someone's identity and ran with it, and nobody had any idea. And you're probably wondering, why am I talking about this? The reason I'm talking about this is because, you might want to do something. Okay, everyone wants to do something, but you might want to be a copywriter, for example. One of my friends wants to be a copywriter, but he doesn't have any confidence in himself. You might want to be a copywriter. You might want to be a YouTuber. You might want to be a freelance designer. You might want to be a teacher. You might want to be a mechanic. All these certain careers and paths in life to take. But a lot of people, they don't feel confident in it, or at least they don't feel confident to teach it or something. For example, like YouTube, like the content I'm trying to make is primarily teaching. I guess you could say that as much as I can. Okay, but it's teaching. And the thing is, people are like, oh, I can't teach that thing because I don't have any previous experience in teaching, and I also don't know that subject inside out. I don't know anything inside out myself. I genuinely don't know anything inside out myself. All I do is I make my target audience someone that's a few steps behind me. So this video that I'm making on imposter syndrome, okay, this video is targeted at someone who just has started experiencing imposter syndrome, or is worried about making a YouTube channel or something. Okay, and I'm just someone who's made like 3-4 videos. I haven't made 100 videos. I haven't become an expert in YouTube videos. I don't have the top budget quality. Look, you can see this. This isn't brilliant. I've got some kind of glare that's coming onto my face. Okay, the microphone quality isn't great. The video quality is not great. And somebody might be wondering, oh, I can't make videos yet because I don't have the top stuff, and I don't have the experience in speaking and this and that. And what I'm saying is, you don't need that. You just need to be one step ahead, maybe even 2 steps ahead of the subject. Of the target audience that you're making a video for. In the same way I'm making a video about imposter syndrome, I haven't watched the movie. I haven't even watched the movie. And the movie that I'm talking about, that is the basis of this whole video, I haven't seen. But then this video is targeted at someone who doesn't even know that movie exists. And now once I watch the movie, and now I understand the movie, and I learn about it, and I take notes, like mental notes from it, then now I can make a video that someone who just knows a little bit about the movie, who hasn't seen it yet. And then once I watch that movie, and I learn more about imposter syndrome, and I just take a course in, I don't know why I would take a course in imposter syndrome, and I watch like 10 YouTube videos on imposter syndrome. Now I can make a video at someone who's seen the video, and they'll watch it and they'll be like, wow, this guy knows so much about imposter syndrome. He's an expert at it. He's so knowledgeable. But really isn't. He's just a few steps ahead. The premise of this video, what I'm trying to get at here, is if you're worried about doing something, copywriting. So this is targeted at my friend. Whether or not you watch it, we'll see. He wants to do copywriting, but he's like, I'm not an expert copywriter. I haven't written any emails for anyone yet. Okay, or like, you know, I don't have that experience. So what happens if I apply for a company, and then with that company, the company will be like, oh, this guy can't do anything, he hasn't done copywriting before, he clearly lied about his experience or whatever, then he'll get kicked out. But that's what I'm saying. All you need to do is be a few steps ahead. So let's just say he applies for a company and they're like, oh, we want, I'm not advocating for lying here, but let's just say he applies for a company and that company thinks he has experience, like a years of experience, or he just knows how to do that certain thing. They're hiring someone who does copywriting. I don't know much about copywriting. Let's just say they do, they can write really good email sequences for one of their subscribers to a newsletter or something, like, you know, like a company, they have a newsletter, and then this is for the subscribers to the newsletter. They can format it really well. If he can learn formatting in a week, he can now apply for that job. And now that job might be like, we want an expert copywriter who's really good at copywriting, has done copywriting for so long, and has done it for a few different companies. Obviously, I wouldn't advocate lying, but let's just say that person was to lie, and they were to join that company, and they spent that week learning how to do that specific thing that they're asking, and then did it well. That company, it's not going to be like, we need to do a background check and learn everything about this guy and see if he's actually lying. No, they'll be like, oh, he did exactly what I asked him to do. Thank you. Here's some more work. In the same with the YouTube channel, somebody might be into cars, for example. Let's just say you're into cars, and you want to make a YouTube channel about cars, and you want to make loads of videos about cars, but you don't know much about cars. You haven't, like, you know, modded the hell out of a car. You haven't taken parts out and, you know, shoved it inside a microwave, and then the microwave started driving off. You know, you haven't done all that yet, okay? But if you just know a little bit, then you can make videos for that person that's a few steps behind who knows nothing. And then as you keep making videos, you can start making videos for the next person in that line, in that experience level. So let's just say you have someone who knows nothing about cars, and you've been learning about cars for a week. You can now make videos for someone who doesn't know about cars whatsoever. Now, as that person now learns about cars, you'll also be learning about cars. So now you know, another thing about cars, whatever that would be. I don't know, something about the suspension. You make a video about the suspension on cars, they'll learn it. Oh, that's so great. This guy knows so much, you know, and then they'll get to that experience level. But as they get to that experience level, you're going to be learning at the same time, and you'll be over here. And eventually get to a point where you know so much about cars, you make so many videos about cars, you're also making money off it, and, you know, from revenue. Sorry, my video cuts after a little bit. I'm gonna try and remember what I was saying and carry on. So you'll start making revenue, and you'll get like a follower list, and they'll all trust you and all your advice, and they love your advice, and they love all your videos, and they'll be like waiting for the new some more content to come out. They'll be really excited, and they will have no idea that you started off there when you started making those videos. They'll just think of you as the expert, you know, the guy who was always over here. But you weren't always over here, you were here when you started. But because you started here, and you kept making videos along the way, and you kept learning as you were making those videos, and you kept getting experience, and then you also got experience with the camera and with sound quality and this and that, and you got better at speaking. And when you become an expert, you're like, what? They can be so shocked. From people of each experience that will look at you and be like, oh my god, I look up to this guy knows so much, I want to watch every video of his and learn and consume all of his knowledge. Okay, you did not start there, and they'll always assume that you started there, but you didn't. And the reason that's so important is, if your goal was, let's just say you want to make a channel about cars, okay, about modifying cars, for example. I don't know why I'm talking about cars for some reason here, but even though I know nothing about cars, but this could be, like, again, you might watch this video and be like, he knows some stuff about cars. I genuinely don't. So let's just say you want to make a channel about cars, and that's your goal. Okay, you were 12, you started watching videos about cars, and you were like, oh, I want to make like really good videos about modding the hell out of cars, and, you know, moving these parts and whatever. Okay, but I don't have the experience for that. Okay, I'm not an expert. I can't make videos about it because I don't know anything. I just know a little bit. So instead of you waiting and learning, and, you know, learning here and there when you can't be bothered, when you have some free time, and then coming all the way up to here, and then you're like, well, let me start a channel about it. But then you have all the anxiety, like, oh, what if people judge me? What if people look at another expert who's much more qualified than me and compare me with him and think, why am I watching this guy's videos when this guy's videos are better? If you start at humble beginnings where you know barely anything, and you're like, I'll be honest, guys, I don't know much, but I'll try and teach you what I can. Then somebody will watch that video and they'll appreciate the honesty, and they'll be like, yeah, okay. And then you'll go, and then, like I said, it'll go like this. It'll keep going like that, okay? And you'll keep learning along the way. But because you learn other things, other skills alongside you know, while you were learning about cars, for example, like sound quality, video quality. You might have hired a few people onto your team who are now going to take care of X, Y, and Z, so you can have more time to learn and focus and, you know, become proficient and, you know, highly skilled in that certain area. You can only do that once you're doing it along the way, once you're gaining experience. But if you waited and then once you became an expert, like 100% qualified, you know, knows inside out every single question about the subject, and then you start making videos, you wouldn't do it. You were so unlikely to start making videos, because at that point you would have built so much pressure and anxiety and fear within yourself about what could be. Yeah, you would have so much fear and anxiety of what could be. You know, am I qualified enough to have enough experience? Whereas if you start with, I don't know anything, hello guys, I don't know anything, okay, and in the next video I'm also not going to know anything, but I'm going to try my best to just speak something and hopefully entertain you guys, or, you know, educate you guys. And people watching, they'll be like, oh, fair enough, and they'll watch and they'll be entertained. They'll be, I like this guy, I like the honesty, I like this, I like this, I like his charisma, I like his personality, I like how he, you know, dresses, I don't know, I like his nose, and they'll be, I love this guy's nose. They'll subscribe and they'll keep watching your videos, and they'll learn, or they'll be entertained, and at the same time you're getting ahead. And it goes like this, and it keeps going like this. And that's how you defeat imposter syndrome, or at least how I defeat it, or I defeat it for myself. Because I wanted to make this YouTube channel, but I was like, how am I going to make self-improvement videos when I'm not this guy who's got a really nice body, okay, has a great haircut all the time, okay, you know, is living in a house, a really expensive house, and has a really nice room, and has a, you know, $3,000 PC which he got from dropshipping for a week, and he's like an expert dropshipper or something. How am I going to make videos? And then I realized to myself, I don't need to have all that. I just need to be one step ahead. And people respect the honesty, and they will appreciate that you're not all the way there yet, but you're trying your best, okay, and you're going to try and, you know, make it a journey where both of us learn together and grow together. So like, I'm starting here, okay, and then maybe 4 months from now I'll make a video on this subject again, maybe, and I'll be so far ahead in experience now. But because you were watching and you were following along the way, you'll also be here, and we'll bond, we'll have some kind of friendship, okay, we'll have some kind of bond over, because we've grown together over this period of time. So why would you start your channel after you've learned everything, after you've got the experience, after you've got the expensive camera, after you've got the really nice PC, and you can edit in 4K and post videos in 4K. Look, I have some glare. I don't know where there's some glare that's coming. My sound quality is not great. I'm recording on my camera. I have to keep checking. If my phone is recording, because my phone just crashes sometimes while it's recording when it overheats. Okay, look how it's probably not the worst, but look how poor this production quality is. Yeah, I'm here making a video and I've got a smile on my face and I'm quite excited and I'm quite happy, because I know this is just the start. And as I keep making videos, and as I keep learning, and as I keep, you know, trying to become a better YouTuber and just a better person in general, I'm going to keep growing as a person. This channel will keep growing, and you as a viewer will also keep growing. And then, you know, in 5-10 years time, we'll look back on, you know, this YouTube channel and you'll think, huh, isn't it funny that your first few videos where you literally just mumbling, you know, just, you know, going on about nonsense that you barely knew anything about. Okay, this imposter syndrome, I haven't watched the movie. The movie is the premise for this video. I literally have not seen it. I just watched someone else discuss it for about 2 minutes, and that 2 minutes was enough for me to think about it, ponder over it, and then start applying it to my own life. Because like, it happens, because like, you know, when I'm tutoring, I'm a tutor, I teach people just as a side job. I just do this on the side, okay. One of the subjects I'm teaching is A-level biology. I haven't done A-level biology in over like 1.5 years. I can't remember everything, okay, but I'm teaching it and I'm speaking with such confidence that I know everything within that subject and I'm an expert at it, and I've been teaching for a few years, but I haven't. I'm just pretending as if I have. I even said to the guy, I guarantee you will get an A. I'm guaranteed that you can get an A. At the same time, if somebody was to test me on my knowledge, I would probably get a C. Do you know how foolish that is? I hope this guy doesn't see that video, because he's gonna just, you know, just be like, he's just gonna fire me as his tutor. Because the reason that is because every time I teach him, I leave myself an hour or two, or maybe the night before I teach him, to relearn the exact thing I'm going to teach him to such a great degree, to an A-star degree, that when I teach him, he listens, he understands, and he's like, oh my god, this is exactly like, I understand it exactly now. I understand it perfectly, thank you. And I'm like, okay, there you go. And again, you being a student means you can relate more with the person watching. If I was an expert, I'd be talking and I'd be using all this, what's it called, all this jargon and lexicon, like blah 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 blah, and you'd be like, I have no idea what he's on about. I can watch this guy. He's way too advanced in this field, and I'm over here. So I'm just gonna just not watch this guy. But if you're just a little bit ahead, you'll be watching him and be like, I understand, this is just a little bit more than I know, but it's still something I can comprehend and understand. And they'll watch, and as you get more, what's it called, more of an expert in that field, they'll also become more of an expert in that field. So they'll always understand what you're saying, and they'll always be able to relate to you. Again, video cut. Hope I remember what I was saying. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you're trying to be a copywriter, so this is from my friend over here, watching this, hopefully he does. If you're trying to be a copywriter, if you're trying to be a YouTuber, if you're trying to be a tutor, teacher, whatever, remember, all you have to be is a few steps ahead. And as long as you're a few steps ahead and you understand and you can speak with a little bit of confidence, even if you don't have any confidence, people will just look at you and be like, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. And so I will give him my money, I will give him my attention, I will give him my time, and I will sit there and I will learn and I will be entertained by whatever this guy is saying, because for me, his perceived value, from what I can perceive, he knows exactly what he's on about, even if he actually doesn't. So what I'm saying is, you watching this, watching me, okay, you might think, okay, he's talked about this for like 20 minutes, he must know exactly what he's on about. No, I haven't watched the movie. I just kind of had a general idea, and now I'm just waffling, I'm just speaking, just thinking, and just firing back at you. And just because I know about the video, know about the movie and thought about it a little bit, and you here have probably not watched the movie, well, hopefully haven't seen the movie, don't know anything about the movie, and I'm wondering, what the hell am I on about? Okay, what is this video about? Like, what is he going to teach me? And I'm just over here where I just know a little bit, and I've thought about it a little bit, and I've applied it just a little bit to my life, and I've considered it, and I've thought about it. Like, let's just say when I started tutoring, I was just like, oh, I'm not qualified to teach this guy. I can barely remember that A-level biology. I wasn't gonna post the ad, for me to be an A-level biology tutor, because I'd have done it in like a year. So I was like, really, I'm not really qualified anymore. I might not be able to teach this guy really that well. But because I knew that if I spent like an hour or two and I learned it that night before that I taught him, the day that I taught him, just that night before, if I learned it, or that morning just before I taught him, if I learned it and understood it, he would watch it. He'd listen to me, and he'd perceive that I know exactly what I'm on about. I can teach it well, and he's learning. Because at the end of the day, all he wants is to learn and to get good grades. That's all he's like. He's not asking me, yo, are you a master at this subject? And I go, yes. And he's like, okay, now you can teach me. No, can you teach me? Yes. Okay, I'll learn from you. That's it. That's all it has to be. You don't have to be an expert. The point is, as long as they're always learning, or they're always entertained, or they're always being somewhat educated, they will always find value in whatever you're making, whether it be copywriting, YouTube, whatever. So like, for example, the copywriting, as long as you can carry out that task that they've asked you to do, and you can always improve on your skill to do with that task or another task that they give you, then they will always perceive that you know exactly what you're doing, and you were a great hire, and they were glad that they hired you. You don't have to necessarily be someone who's been copywriting for a year or 2 years and can do everything. You can do this kind of copywriting thing, and this one, 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 and can modify a car in this way and this way, and can remove the engine, and knows all the engineering mechanics behind everything. No, if you just know a little bit more than the previous person, then they will perceive for you as they will perceive you as that they will perceive that you know more than you actually do. And that is the whole point. That is how you defeat imposter syndrome, or at least how I defeat imposter syndrome. And I hope this has helped you to, every time you feel like an imposter, you go into a new field or a new school or a new career, or you're trying out something new, a new hobby, whatever. As long as it seems like 1% more than the previous person, they will look at you and they'll think, he knows a lot. Let me learn from this guy. Let me be entertained by this guy. Let me what's it called, hire this guy, let him work for me. That's the whole point I'm trying to make from this video. I don't know if I got too confused there. Hope that was clear. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.